Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle, where Dean and Rob talk about everything business and marketing. So, one of the big things that Dean has always been super confused about, and I think a lot of business owners are in your same shoes, Dean, and it's been one of the hardest things for you to be able to wrap your head around. You do better now than you ever have, but you bring that small business attitude to that piece into the whole entire group, which is why we're able to do what we do. So I'm going to pick on you a little bit for this one, but I think there's going to be a lot of listeners who are in your same shoes. And we're going to talk 100% about Google Business Profile. So for everyone who doesn't know, we used to have an entire platform that was built around the Google Business Profile, and we got away from it because of all Google's policies, the hidden addresses, the service areas, the whole piece. Google is still a piece that you want to work with inside of your business for being able to get your business found. It's what powers Bixby, Google Assistant, and some of your voice search networks. It powers some of your AIs like Gemini. They pull that data from it. So you still have to make sure you have it properly optimized. And if you're listening to this podcast inside of Spotify or any of those things, you can find it inside of our podcast section, inside of our YouTube channel as well. So you can follow along, and we'll link to it in the descriptions everywhere. But we'll link into those spots because we're going to go through, we're going to do some screen sharing. So we're going to look at optimizing your Google Business Profile, how to be able to handle response for a suspended Google Business Profile. And we're going to deep dive into Google Business Profile, which, Dean, do you agree that that is one of your biggest confused areas that has boggled your mind since we started this?
I have a hard time just logging into my Google Business Profile, for crying out loud. I get myself all messed up. So leave me alone, Rob. I mean, but no, I mean, a lot of businesses struggle with that. You know, they can't get in. They hire somebody, they create a second account, a third account, and all of a sudden they're suspended. They put something in there wrong. So Google Business is kind of elusive. And let's dive into this and talk about it. But yes, I mean, Google Business Profile is a necessary piece to your whole information side, but it's there's more to it. But it's still an important piece. You got to make sure you have to take care of it and maintenance it properly. Just like you're having an old car, you got to. Right. That's my analogy for that. But anyway, but Google Business Profile can be frustrating and difficult to understand. I will agree.
It can be. I mean, it's one of those things to where they made it hard. And there's a lot of people that make those phone calls and say, you're not on Google Business Profile. You're not doing this. So let's deep dive into that. For one, let's talk about suspensions right out of the gate. A lot of businesses get suspended because they're not following the policies. I'll go over those policies of the most common suspension pieces inside of the video that kind of break down how to optimize it as I go through it. But the big thing is how to be able to get the most out of your Google Business Profile.
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of confusion where you're not alone, Dean, where there's a lot of business owners that end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 different accounts. And then they end up into the scenario where they have this one account that was a service area, and they have one that is their business address over here. They've got all these reviews on this one, and then Google says, oh, you got duplicates, and they lose this one. And then it's a pain in the ass to get Google to merge them together.
Right.
If not, absolutely impossible.
All right. The legal department's in my ear going, as of today, these are the things you got to be careful of. Okay.
It changes.
As of today's recording.
I mean, Google changes constantly for what these requirements are. It's why we pulled our platform away from them to not be 100% there. We put it in manually. We may bring it back a little bit in a different way to make it more automatic. But Google is one of those things to where once you get it going, you're pretty much good to go, especially if you're using the social media suite, which can post out to your Google Business Profile. But I think there's a lot of businesses that don't even know you can post. So let's dive into that, Dean. Let's look at it real quick. Let me load the screen here.
Okay. I'm going to bring a couple points up of people I've talked to as well. So, there you go. There you go. I got it. I see the screen share now.
It's too small. 1 second. I gotta find the right screen.
Okay. Oh.
That's too small. That's there. There we go.
Okay. Can you stack it so we're not in the way, or are we good there? Right there. Is it? Oh, if you push to the side, though. Never mind. Just leave us where we're at. We can see the screen just fine.
Oops. 1 sec. I'll make this a little bit everything. And so I'm going to use one of my old businesses to be able to go through and do this. So this one's not even active. I mean, it got 118 views according to Google. It's why I don't believe their analytics. This is an older business. I'm not even active on this business anymore. This might have actually been one of the businesses I sold off to one of the venture capital companies, and I still have access to it. They don't do anything with it because it got merged into something else. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's look at it a little bit closer. It's a good example for what your Google business profile is. This is assuming you already have one set up. If you don't have a Google business profile set up, part of our listings engine, you can actually have us set that Google business profile up, optimize it out of the gate for you, and get you off to the races. So if you don't have a Google business profile, sign up for the listings engine. We'll create that part of that process. You'll still have to go through and do the verifications on that and go through all the verification pieces because we don't change what the terms and conditions are in each of those networks. We can't get you past that. But this is going to be assuming you already have a Google business profile set up. So to get here, I made sure I logged in up here.
Let's start. Can I jump you back for just a second?
Yep.
How do people know how to get into I mean, some people have been in there once they set it up, they've never been back into it. How do they know how to get into it? Let's just start from basic beginning, if you don't mind. Kind of thing.
Yeah, they have to know which email address they used. Now, if they don't know what email address they used,
there you go. That's where I'm going because I go, who's the managing email address? And a lot of businesses don't know how to even.
So if you don't know what managing email address you have, you're going to go to google.com. You're going to search for your business name. So I'll do simply be found. It should pull up a Google business profile. This one didn't, so I'm going to go Windsor, Colorado. There's my Google business profile right there. If I come in here and I say own this business, I get a 404. So that part doesn't work right now with Google. So okay. Dean, I'd love to show you, but their system's broke.
But basically you go into.
So you have to know what email address. So when we do these live and uncut, I have no idea what Google has up. And that was one of my right. biggest frustrations with Google is their shit doesn't even work half the time. So it's one of those things. So you have to know what email address you're in. You have to be signed into Google. And how you know if you're signed in is up here in the top right. It's going to tell you what account you're in. That'll tell you exactly which one you're in. If you're not signed in, you can click this button. It'll go down. You can say add account, sign into your email address. If you have multiple, sign into all of them. And when you search your business name, you'll automatically come to this list.
Right. So when you see this screen that we're looking at right now, it says your business on Google, you know you're in, and then you can edit your profile, you can read reviews and the whole thing like that. So
you can also Google Google's business profile, and it should list all of your businesses. Gotcha. So if it doesn't pull your business up, it'll tell you if they're suspended, if they're not suspended, or where they're kind of at.
Gotcha.
So, and we might manage multiple different accounts inside of each of ours from all the different agencies. I mean, we manage so many. So we use that function all the time. I have to bounce around for figuring out which one is where. But once you get in here, you're going to know your profile strength. Obviously, since this one's not really active, it's going to be a lower strength. You can click these three dots up here, and you can go to your business profile settings. Inside of here, you can do a security audit. You can check and say what people have access to my Google business profile. And you can add, you can remove them inside of there. Your advanced settings, this is going to tell you what your business profile ID is. Google Assistant calls. I always recommend to shut these off.
So what do those do for your business, those assistant calls?
They try to book calls and do things for it, and do automated calls to keep your business profile up to date. I mean, I really don't know what those two do, but I always shut them off. The reason being is I don't want Google trying to book me stuff. Usually that has something to do with ads. So if you're running ads, talk to your ads person to see if they're doing it. Your phone number. If you ever wanted your phone number not to be on your Google business profile, you would check this off. You'd say don't show. So if this is active like this, that means your business phone number won't be shown on that business.
Are these when you first set everything up? Is everything defaulted on? Typically,
depends.
I don't know.
They changed. So when we set all the accounts up, which we set lots of accounts up every day, when we set those accounts up, it depends on what industry, location, what got selected. There's a lot of preset stuff. But once you get in here, you'll have some stuff that may be different than this one if you're in a different industry. Like if you're a restaurant, you have other stuff.
Okay.
Labels, I have absolutely no idea how to be able to do it. I think it's to be able to label out your ones if you have multiple businesses and they're not approved and verified inside of Google, but I have no idea what that is. Your store code, that's going to be if you have multiple different stores for your location IDs, so you know how to identify them and know which location you're in. So that's when you would add your store code to here.
Okay.
Google Ads phone number. I've got a love-hate relationship with Google Ads phone number. If you're running Google Ads, that's going to be a phone number that is not unique to your business and Google owns. That means they could give it to somebody else at any time. And if anybody uses that number again and again, and you no longer have ads running, you lose access to it. I personally do not recommend, and I do not recommend doing Google Ads phone numbers. I do not recommend ever having a tracking phone number because it goes against your NAP, the name, address, phone number. When we look at the whole entire tree for that listings piece, you want consistency across your phone numbers. So when you have all that out, that goes against it the minute you buy one of those. And if you ever cancel that service or no longer have that, and someone saved that as your number, they'll think you're out of business.
Right, exactly. I've talked to businesses that have had that happen to them.
I have too. So that's kind of just your settings in there. Your next piece is going to be.
So on the profile strength that you're seeing, that's only for Google profile strength.
Only Google. Okay. Correct. Because we're logged into Google Business Profile.
Right.
See, it gets really confusing because now you're not sure what the difference is between your Google Business Profile and the rest of those listings.
Right, exactly. So that's why I wanted to ask that question, Rob.
Yep. So over here, you can edit your business profile. So when you click on edit, obviously you have your business name inside of here. You have your business category. Now remember, you can always add more categories to the mix. And when you start typing, you got to figure out what they all are. So, I mean, this one might be a marketing agency. It might be all those different things. You can add it in.
So the thing is, let's just use an example. I'm a roofer because we like to talk about our roofers, and they do gutters as well. They can choose categories. Now, but is the order of the categories important? I think it is.
It is.
First one that is your major
first. So notice how this right here says primary category.
Gotcha.
Your secondary category. So if I go marketing agency, for example, for this one, and I select it and I do another category, I'd want my next one in line to be my next category I want to target that have high priority. Google doesn't make this easy to be able to drag and drop and reorder these, which I disagree with their UI UX, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but so if you want to change it because
order
it's the wrong order, you have to delete it and move it up. Basically.
Just like when you go through and you select it inside of our system, that order of importance is very important inside of there to be able to say, these are what we're targeting, because that listings engine is going to go out there and it's going to look for those things in that order and try to match it so it knows what your primary piece is.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Description. This is why that has a low profile score. There's no description. This is where you come in and you talk about your business. So they allow 750 characters in here. Where a lot of businesses really mess up is they put contact information, they put social media links, they put their YouTube channel, they put their website address, they put their phone number, or they put their actual physical location into that description. Don't do that. You'll get suspended from Google. Just know that right out of the gate. It's one of their biggest pet peeves is there can't be any contact information. Now, the reason why they don't want any contact information there is because what they're trying to do is track everything you do. And the minute somebody calls you from this screen right here and they don't use their system, they can't get credit for it and say, look what we did for you, because their ads team wants to sell you more leads. And that's another metric for them to be able to show, so they can show their importance inside of the whole entire local SEO algorithm, in my opinion.
Okay. But so this is where you want to shine, and you want to talk about the products and services and everything about your business. And the other thing too, that when you talk about description, I think the first 48 characters is all you see on your Google business profile. So make sure if something like that, I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
But make sure that your key points are right away, because that's what people see without doing an expand or see more on your profile.
Now, they did add this new AI function in there, which uses Gemini, to where you can click on suggest description.
Uh-huh.
And it'll write a description for you. And if you wanted to try again, you can. Or you can say use, and it'll automatically put it in there.
Gotcha.
So it pulls information out. I personally don't think it works very well because it doesn't know everything about you. But sometimes it gets darn close and can get you out of writer's block.
Right. And the other thing I want, they have the 750 character limit. If you go over it, it just stops. It doesn't go any more than that.
Correct.
If you copy and paste it from somewhere, if you're over it, then it's just not all going to be there.
Like this. Oh. I didn't mean to save that. I don't want to optimize this platform. All right, here we go.
But anyway,
so when you come in here to your description, if I said I wanted to use this, and I would say I was copying it from somewhere else, and I pasted it in, I pasted it, it'll just stop. Once it hits 750, it just stops. Opening date. This is when your business opened. This is really important. It's even important inside of our system for the listings engine for when you started your business. Some directories don't let you come in unless you're so old. They won't accept you if you're not old enough. Now, don't be falsifying on that, because some of this, Google doesn't do this that I know of. Maybe they do during their verification process, but some of them go look at your state docs as well and to be able to cross-verify you. So having the right open date, don't falsify that, but put your open date. How long you've been in business. It's not going to majorly affect you. Now, there's this chat function. Anything you want to say about open business? Sorry.
No. If there's something I want to jump in, I'll jump in.
Yeah, interrupt me in this, because I mean this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of pieces, and Google changes stuff. I haven't been through Google Business Profile like this in forever.
There's some things you're popping up right now that I don't even remember. I don't remember them being there, so they're new.
So chat got replaced. There was a chat function for within Google Business Profile or Google My Business, if you want to go way back, that you could chat directly inside of Google. Do you remember that messaging system they had for a while?
I never used it, so I don't remember.
It totally just, it sucked. It bombed. It didn't work. Well, now they let you do text message and send a text message to whatever phone number, or you could do a WhatsApp. I've never personally tried the text message piece. I'm going to go try that on a business next and see what that process looks like, because I'm kind of curious of what that looks like inside of the Google system. Because I know a couple businesses that love text messages. Your website, obviously, this is the website that you're going to use. This is your main website that you're going to put in. You're going to put it inside of here. Where'd that go? Oh. I'm not even going to add one in there because there's not an active website for this business. But you're going to put your website address inside of there. So you'll click add. You'll drop it in. Make sure you use the HTTP S if you're secured. If you're not secured, just HTTP : / to get proper.
So your profile doesn't recognize and automatically put that in there for you. You have to manually do that, or have issues. If you don't have a website, can you still get verified?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like this one doesn't have a website on it right now, so you can have it in there. Now, there's the new function inside of Google Business Profile, kind of like I swear they take stuff from us inside of the listings engine. But you can pick your social media profiles. So you can say, okay, I want it LinkedIn, and you drop the website address. It doesn't mean to put the @ symbol in there. Just like inside of our system, you have to paste your whole entire piece. Like for Facebook, if you want to find that, we have a whole video on that for how to find your address, but you'd put all those in to match your business.
One of the things
benefit to that,
I've seen some people put in Facebook.com.
Yeah, don't do that.
That won't work.
That's not your profile.
Right.
The reason why you want to show your profiles is you're showing local SEO how all this is connected. So if we're talking the listings engine and even Google, it's showing it other places. Not only that a customer could come find your business in those spots, but it's also showing the algorithms this is where to go look for information about your business. So when it goes to your website, it's going to see if those social media profiles match. It's going to check that in the listings engine, and it's going to look everywhere because it brings that whole entire piece in. So when you're looking at your NAP, when you're looking at your whole entire organic piece in the bottom of that tree, because that's all your listings places. So if you're using Simply Be Found for it, all those listings engine is going to get you out to 1,000+ places. And then you have that website piece, and then you have your branches at the very top of that tree, which we talk about all the time in our huddle if you've watched any of our videos. But it's one of those things to where sharing that information is going to bring you a lot of value because now you're telling everything where to go look. It's part of that interconnection process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I follow what you're doing, so we're good.
All right. So business location. This is going to be if you're a service area business. So if you do not want to show your address to customers and you want to be a service area business, so if you have a home address, so this is going to be for a Google business profile only. If you're using your home address as your location, they require you to be a service area business or else you're against their terms and conditions. From how I understand it, as of today, as we record this, I'll put some legal disclaimer in there because that may change. But most home businesses, unless customers physically come to your address and you have hours at that address, and you have a business license at that address, and you advertise that address. I've seen it get away for not being a service area business for a massage person or a hairstylist that works from home. Right. That's a different scenario than a roofer because they don't want, with the whole hide address piece, even inside of our system, is if you don't qualify for maps. So say if you're a roofer, if you're a plumber, if you're somebody who goes to those people's houses and they don't come to you and they wouldn't want to find you on maps, they don't want to put you on maps inside of that sense because people aren't looking for your address. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. So I just heard you say that if you don't put it, so if you're hiding your address in your service business, you won't be found on maps.
So if you hide your business on there, you have a less chance of coming up on maps, and it's hard to rank. But it doesn't mean for you to say, "Hey, I'm not going to get found," because you're going to be able to organically rank still in other ways. Okay. But it does lower what your score is, which really sucks. I think that's a big disadvantage to Google Business Profile and what they've done to the service area businesses. Because I know a lot of plumbers that work from their home can't put their home address on there, and they don't want to go out and have a physical location because they don't need one. But yet they have a competitor that has one, and maybe they're bigger and have a bigger budget, but they would never be able to compete, but they would be a better option to be able to go to the one with the resident. They've really kind of, I know why they did it. They did it to lower the spam because what was happening is there was a lot of companies that were coming out and they were putting themselves at Home Depots and Lowe's, and the locksmith world really saw this big time inside of it that I've seen, to where they do that and they figure out how to get that address where it just gets automatic approved, and then they didn't have to do anything. Well, now Google has all the spam that built up, and now they're trying to clean it all up, and this is what they chose. I think it's hurt a lot of businesses.
I would agree with you a bunch on that, Rob.
Now, our data team, I brought this up in a huddle the other day. Our data team brought me an analogy, and we're currently tracking the data. We don't have enough data on it that when you have your listings piece, you're actually going to improve your map score. So when you're using the listings engine from simplybefound.com, it's going to build up your profile. So if you have enough profiles out there, you're giving credibility, and it can actually move you up in maps, even if you don't have an address in there. We have no proven data on that. That would be hard, though, where I would say, absolutely, it's going to make you rank higher, blah, blah, blah. but we have enough data to say it could do that, and it does it for certain businesses, and we're not sure why, but we're currently looking in to see why we can figure that out.
Right, I remember that conversation.
So if you are a service area business, you're going to turn this on, and you're going to say, this is, oh, sorry, you're going to have this off. That'll be hide your address. If you want to show your business, you're going to enter your address, your city, your state into here, and then you're going to adjust your map thing. So like if we were at our business address for 212 Main Street, line 2, this is going to be our suite number, which we're unit B. And we're in Windsor, and I can't type whenever I get on a screen share. Colorado. I see a lot of people inside of our listings engine that forget to put the state. It blows my mind.
Right.
80550. So notice where it puts your pin right here. I don't like inside of their piece, and if they really do watch our stuff, we're going to see this happen. They should put a plus and a minus here to be able to zoom in and out, in my opinion, to where I can see where that goes. Oh, it gives it to you. So if I hit adjust at the top, it gives it to you. So if I come in here and I look at it, notice how we're right there. So I might put this one over here if I was going to do it. And I'd say done. What that's doing is it's placing your pin in the right spot. I know when you came on with your other company, which you can see on the screen, but when you were a client of ours, you were like, my pin's in the wrong spot, or my pin keeps getting moved. It's because chances are someone's making a recommendation and moving your pin, because people make recommendations to Google all the time, and they'll change your stuff if you're not coming in here and monitoring it, or you don't have it locked. And we have a whole locking system. We have a whole locking system that's going to be coming out as an add-on, and we're currently building out. I'm not even sure if you knew we had that.
I didn't. We had that. We talked about it, and then we changed it, so I didn't know it was back again. So,
correct. So, I mean, we're going to be putting a locking system on and kind of some automation pieces that'll take the Google Business Profile to the next level. Because when you have the listings, we do the basics. We don't do a full optimization inside of there. There's a lot of tweaks. There's a lot of stuff that happens over time to be able to manage and be able to do it. So we're going to have an add-on that comes out that'll be for actually just taking your listings for Google and optimizing it, making sure it stays optimized.
Gotcha.
It brings a lot of AI functions inside of your Google Business Profile.
Right, because I remember my pin for my other business. I've actually seen other people's pins get moved into a street, into a different lot, a different block for whatever reason. So that lock would be is a huge idea. I'm glad we're bringing it back in.
And I mean, that takes a little bit more processing power for us and a little bit more management, because we bring that human factor into it. So that's why it's an add-on, that's one thing that we're going to have some stuff coming out. So, all right. So inside of business location, we already talked about this section. Down here, since it's a service area business, it says no location, deliveries and home services only. You have the service area. This is where if you are serving an area. So if you're a roofer, you hid your address, you got to put your whole entire piece in. Now, when you put your search area in, the cool thing is you can do zip codes. You can do counties.
You cannot type when you're on screen share.
I can't. I can type. Whenever I'm on screen share, my typing skills go out the wall. Or you can put in the actual cities and towns like Windsor, Colorado. And this is where you would go through and just select your entire area that you're in. And you can add, I believe, as many as you want now inside of here.
Yeah, it used to
be there might be a maximum of 50 or something like that, but you can add quite a few in. Right. So I don't know what the maximum is.
So one of the things when you do a service area, you saw you had United States selected. Is there any value to that? I mean, I've seen people do that. We've seen some e-commerce people try to put that in there. It doesn't really work, though, does it?
And you can. You're not going to rank. I mean, getting it to rank inside of that is such a broad term. It's going to be such a pain in the butt. It's not even funny.
Right. So you're better off to really target the areas more specifically.
You're better off to target the area specifically, and I always recommend 30 to 40 miles out. Once you get past 50, your ranking power is going to go way down.
Okay, thank you.
Business hours. Watch doing 24 hours. Google does look at you and decides if you really can handle 24-hour business. and it looks at a lot of different algorithms there. Don't show 24 hours unless you truly offer 24-hour support and you're putting that on your website. And if their system does a call, and I don't have any proof on this one again, but I think some of the calls that happen in weird hours is them testing to see if anybody picks up the phone.
So do you have to have a live person pick it up or an answering service?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I've seen a lot of accounts get suspended that do 24 hours, and they say they're not really 24 hours.
Right.
Back when we used to have contacts at Google, and now it's all AI driven, and it's hard to get a real person.
Right. So
they make that whole process a pain.
What I remember is the service industries that are phone only, that like a towing company can put 24 hours, but if they're a physical brick and mortar and they put 24 hours and their door isn't open 24 hours, I saw some suspensions that way as well.
Correct. Which it gets really kind of weird. Special hours, that's going to be any of your holiday hours. If you're not going to be open on Christmas or whatever, you can put that in and put that in there. The other piece inside of hours to also talk about is you have open with no hours now. That is a new option they put in. So if you're a service area business and you're open, but you don't have necessarily set hours, you can say open with no main hours. That's a newer function from them. You can also say temporary closed or permanently closed inside of there. The other piece is if you click the plus sign right here, if you have split hours, you can split your time up. So you open, you close, you open. So a lot of chiropractors use that function. And a lot of networks besides Google don't have that option to be able to do special hours. So I see a lot of businesses use that function for split hours, especially chiropractors.
Right. That's like an example of that would be if they're closed for their lunch hour, basically, right? So if they're open from 8 noon and then from 1 to 4, they can do that, correct?
Correct.
And they can change it for each day too, correct?
They can.
Okay. So
and they can come in and update that. So there's a lot of things that we say don't come in and update quite often, but you can do that all the time inside of there. Right. So you notice how also I want to point out, you notice when I make a change in there, it submits it over for approval processes into Google every time.
Right. So it doesn't update right away then? Do you have to wait for the system to receive the request and then update? So, okay.
Yep. So then you have inside of here, which I think is a weird flow, you have all these things, which are called attributes, but for some reason they're calling it out as add more hours, which does not make any sense to me whatsoever. But those would be attributes it's recommending, which none of those would even be for my business. But if yours pops up something for your business, select which ones matter. And then you have the from your, you have your more, so you have your from your business. This is going to be letting anybody know any of these things that apply to you. So you can go through. If you're woman-owned, say yes. Veteran-owned, say yes. Or any of these things that are in there. Those are identifiers. Really has no ranking factors whatsoever that I know of. Crowd. I really don't know how this data is used inside of the Google Business Profile. It might be for like clubs and that type of thing, since it's going to be for LGBTQ friendly. I really have no idea. I've never used it.
Gotcha. No.
Planning, appointment required. This is a newer system. So you know how everybody used to always want to be able to do appointments only inside of Google?
Right. And they didn't allow that. Now it's back. Because it was there at one time.
It was there. They took it away. I know we weren't the only ones bitching and complaining about that, but I'm going to toot my own horn and say I hope they put that back because of some of the videos. I did some nasty videos about how they're hurting businesses. So if you are appointments only, what you would do is you would select your hours as being open with no main hours, and then you would come down here and say appointment required. Gotcha. Or if you have a business that you have hours, but it requires an appointment, you can do that as well. But I think if you do that and you don't select open with no main hours, it does give you that option for appointments required. I think it's the only way you get that function, but I could be wrong on that.
Okay, so that's new.
That is a new.
It's new again.
Yep, and to be able to save all this, make sure you always hit save whenever it gives you that option.
Right.
Service options.
So with our images, Rob, I'm not seeing some of the things at the bottom of that screen sometimes.
Here, one sec. And that is why we do it the way we do it. We'll take us away for a minute.
Yeah.
Service area or service options. This is going to be if you speak any of these languages and kind of giving that profile update inside of there.
Perfect.
And then let's talk reviews real quick.
All right. And then let's dive into the review thing a little bit also with the duplicates. Let's kind of talk about that as well while we're here, because I know that that's a concern with a couple of our members right now that have two accounts, and one's suspended, one is not. So you want me to bring that up now and talk about that a little bit?
I mean, okay. so when you that part right there is a piece where you have where they accidentally created two accounts.
Right.
They have reviews at both, and now they need to be able to take those two Google business profiles and merge them together.
Right. And the problem is while they're waiting for their appeal to push them together or whatever that process ends up being.
Well, Google suspended one of them because they had duplicates.
Right. So what the problem is now is they can't. The old way they used to request reviews was the suspended one, which means that now if they give that link out for reviews, they can't get there. So if you have a suspended account and an unsuspended account, how would you get that information? So at least if you're building on the one that's visible
right here. Public.
So
to get that link from Google of where to leave a review, you click this button right here, and it gives you a QR code, gives you a review link, and gives you ways to be able to share it. But all you have to do is click copy, or you can put that on your invoices to get Google reviews, and someone could scan it and leave you a review.
Okay, so they have to get into the Google business profile.
Click on reviews. Yep. Click on reviews and then get more reviews.
Now, so if they're suspended, can they get into the suspended one as well or not?
You can get into a suspended account and still be able to get it, and you can see everything. You just can't make any changes, and your access is limited.
I gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you.
And their whole entire piece of doing it. I mean, we have canned letters for suspended accounts to be able to try to help you be able to get unsuspended. We never make any guarantees, but it's something we offer inside the listings engine. We'll walk you through. You're doing all the process. You're going through. You do everything on your end, and we just help you make sense of what their Google piece is. What I see a lot of businesses do is they get suspended from Google and they flip out and they start to irrationally just start sending Google emails. They're pissed, and those bastards. And I mean, the people get really angry about that because that's the livelihood of their business is being able to get found. So if you're using the listings engine, you can know you're being found everywhere else, and you're just waiting on getting unsuspended from Google. So when how you handle that appeal process and going through and making sure you stack that right information is going to be super important.
Right. And one of the things that everybody thinks that they can call Google, you can't talk to a real person.
You can search Google Business Profile's phone number, and it'll be a scam artist or someone trying to sell you something that's going to rip you off. Right. I guess there might be some legitimate businesses, so I don't want to call everybody out on it.
But what happens is they go, I talked to somebody at Google. I said, you probably did not talk to somebody at Google.
Not for Google talk to you for ads.
Right.
But a lot of times that's an outsourced person too.
Right. But you can't physically talk to somebody about your suspension. I just go through their email AI process, basically.
I used to have a couple of contacts at Google I could email directly, and they could help me work through getting accounts unsuspended and work through the process, but they're no longer there. They got replaced by AIs.
Right. So I just wanted to make that a point because we have a lot of people call up and say, I talked to Google about my suspension. You probably did not, is all I'm trying to say.
You probably didn't. So I'm going to go into an account actually that has reviews. I think my Marketing by Rob account has reviews. Since we're talking reviews. Their system is slow. All right, so when you go read reviews. So, for example, There's people who left reviews. Hey, look, you left me a
Hey,
review
look at
back in
that. That
2020.
was a few years ago, wasn't it?
Right. So if you ever want to reply to a review, all you do is press reply and you can reply publicly.
Right. And when you do
Now,
that
someone,
reply,
if
the
they, if
person that
they,
left the review, just remember, if you do the reply, the person who left the review gets that reply sent to their email address, correct?
right. And if you click
Okay.
on reply to reviews right here, it'll take you to a screen and it'll walk you through each one so you can reply to every review that hasn't been replied to. That's why we looked at bringing review monitoring back, and my problem is you get an email from almost all of the different networks when you get a review, and you get all of that. And replying to the reviews have gotten so simple using AI to be able to come in and do this. And I think doing it manually is just a better option, and you don't really need to pay a monitoring service, in my opinion. But that's just my
Right.
opinion, tossing that out.
Right. We've talked about letting AI run amok on your reviews and not represent your business. That's another conversation for another day. So
That's another conversation for another day. You can add your photos and videos. These do show up inside of your Google Business profile. They show up when you actually search your business. They show up here.
right. If you scroll down to your updates, I believe it shows up on that as well.
It can if you put it inside your post, but they won't if you just add it.
Oh no, there's actually I think they actually put a thing on there now. To actually, if it's a verified business, if you go down to your updates, go down some more.
That's on mobile. You can't view updates on desktop.
Oh, okay.
So that's another area where Google really confuses people, because how it looks inside a desktop versus how it looks on mobile is completely different. Just like if you're over in Maps, it can look different.
Exactly.
And that brings a lot of small business owners to where they get a lot of frustration because they see something that's there, but I don't know if that. I'll check on that. I don't think it's there. I know for sure that when you upload your photos, like your logo and everything, that's what comes inside of this section here. And then you can add videos. I think that's like a 30-second or 1-minute video that you can do in here. I highly recommend doing YouTube videos more than doing this, and you'll still rank inside of there. I don't think Google Business Profile videos do that well, but some businesses, they say they get results out of it.
Exactly.
While we're inside of photos, I want to talk about posts real quick, and they talk about it as being updates. I think that they should have put edit profile, read reviews, photos, Q&A, and then updates all in the same line. But it's not the way they're trying to take you in there. Right. So I'm going to bounce around. I'm going to come down here to add update. This is doing post to your business. You can use the Simply Be Found social media suite to post to your business profile. So that way when you post to Facebook, it goes out to Google Business Profile, X, whatever networks you're using at the same time. That's going to bring a lot of value there, and that's going to bring a lot of pieces. But you can do it directly from your Google Business Profile as well. You can do it as an update, which is, think about this as being just like a social media network. That's why I just brought it up the way I did, is you can post out there. You can post information about your business. This indexes instantly inside of the Google Business Profile system. So this is a way to be able to get yourself to be able to rank. You can add photos to that post. You can also add call to actions. So, for example, if I say call now, it'll send them to the phone number, which is on your Google Business Profile. And if I say sign up or learn more, I can paste an actual website address to go to. Right. Does that make sense?
It does. And one of the really interesting, so if you're on desktop and you hit the call now button, nothing happens. But if you're on mobile and you hit the call now button, it actually dials your number to your business.
Yep. So, this is a huge function to be able to use to be able to get your business to rank. Add offer. This is like coupons. You can add a coupon with a start date, end date. You can add more details, offer details, coupon codes, terms and conditions. You can add all of that stuff to it. Your other one is adding events. This is really good for like restaurants or anybody who holds events in their location, to where they can actually put that event on the calendar. There's a whole entire place inside of Google that has local events. That's where it picks up its data from.
Right.
Q&A. Q&A is huge for any business inside of their Google business profile. Most businesses, I'm recommending 30 to 50 questions and answers. One really cool thing is, and this was broke for a while, we're one of the ones that called them out in a video, and a lot of people were having a lot of issues with this, but they fixed it. Thank goodness.
Yes.
But you can come up here and you can say ask question. I can say post. I can say done. And it pops up right away. One cool thing you can do as a business owner is you can say answer, and you can write an answer. Granted, I would recommend always saying more than what I just did, but you can answer it and it'll show right up and inside of your Google business profile as an owner answered question.
Right.
The reason why you want so many questions is this also puts it in. This also taps into what's called AEO marketing, which is your answer engine optimization.
The only thing I want to throw out is if you do questions and answers here, and it's really important to do that. But if you have a frequently asked questions section on your website, you want to make sure your answers coincide with the same response.
They should match. They should be identical.
Exactly.
So they should be 100% identical inside of there. Bookings. This is going to be if you have a booking link, if you use Calendly or anything like that, you can add a link to it. Your other piece is going to be, because we're not going to go over performance or advertise. One thing I will point out inside of performance, they only track how many interactions have happened with it. But if you notice here, they never talk about voice search. That data is still not being collected at all. And I think it's interesting this many people still look for a business I really don't do anything with. But so we talked about bookings. We talked about performance, products. These are going to be all the products that you offer. So if I click on get started, it'll let me enter all my products that I offer for my business. This should match what you've done inside of your listings engine and be identical. So that way that everything is listed. The only nice thing about this compared to a lot of the different networks that are out there is you can actually add a photo to it.
Right.
And this is where we don't get, unless you have the advanced piece that's going to be coming out, we really don't dive into this piece. We like you to go in and do this piece because adding all this is going to be beneficial for you because you know your prices. You know all those things. You don't have to put a price on here. It's optional, by the way. But you can also add different categories and all that to your whole entire business to where then you can break your whole menu out. If you're a restaurant, they actually let you design basically your whole entire restaurant menu inside of Google.
Right, which is way more valuable, by the way, than a photo.
Yep. And where this ties into your local SEO that a lot of marketers forget about, and especially small business owners, is if that product has a spot on your website that is for specifically it, you can drop that website address into here, and now you just made that match that this product means this product, and that's going to move you up inside of search.
Take our images off real quick. It's hard to see that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Right there.
Okay.
So you can add as many products and services as you want, or products as you want, and then you do the same thing for services. You can add all the different services that you do inside of here. So you can add more services, and it's all based on what it is inside of here. So you just click on add more services and branch it out from where you're going to go with it. So if I add another business category, so a lot of your services for Google Business Profile are matched up to your business category and what it'll allow for a service inside of there. Right. That's probably why, I mean, you can do this and you can also do your products at the same time, and that's going to bring you a lot of value to that whole piece.
No, that's a big area. That's a huge area.
They used to allow you just to drop a list. That's what I was expecting. I haven't been inside of services, so that's newer since I've done it. I'm not the one that usually does those updates. Our data team does. So sometimes I'm like, hey, look, they made a change.
I know.
But I mean, that is your Google business profile in a big picture. That is what happens to your Google business profile and what everything is inside of there. It's not as complicated as you need to make it out to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. The biggest thing is manage your profiles. Don't let other people manage them. I don't like to turn control over to anybody else because that can really mess you up.
It's why we recommend that you do your own Google business profile versus having somebody else do it for you. Even we recommend that so that way you have control over it. So there's a few functions that happen inside of the world of Google Business Profile. You can add someone as a manager. I think that's okay as long as you check it. And if they're no longer with you, they get taken off. And how you do that is up here. Just so to recap,
right? Because I think that was a problem with some of these people that hired agencies. They couldn't get the managers off of there. Did they fix that problem?
That's a whole different problem that you're thinking of.
Oh, okay.
That's a whole different problem.
Okay,
all right, we'll cover that next.
Okay.
how to add a Google Business Manager into there? You're going to click the 3 dots right here. You're going to say Business Profile, People's Access, and you can choose their access. Like apparently, I haven't cleaned a lot of this stuff up.
There's a couple people.
So now I know my manager access. I know what I have. You just have to add. And as long as they have a Google Business Profile account, you can add them in there. If you don't have a Google Business Profile account or you want to add one, we have a whole video on that. We'll make sure we put that in the description of how to create a Google Business Profile, because how you do that, you can actually use your business account to be able to do it. So that way you don't have to have a Gmail account for everybody. But that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
So the problem you're talking about that took forever to figure out what to do. Now I got to remember where all that is, Dean, because you just brought up a whole different piece.
Oh, I know I did. I'm sorry. I opened the can of worms.
All right.
Let's go fishing, baby.
What happens is there's a lot of APIs that get added to your business. And when you'd go and you'd hire a marketing agency, they'd go sign up for all these different services and give API access, which an API is how it connects in and basically gives them control remotely without being a manager. So how you check that is you come up here to your name. You come down to more settings.
You need to hide our images, Rob. You need to hide our images. See that.
All right. So when you come up here to the top, you come to more settings. Inside of privacy and settings inside of here, I can go to Google account settings. There we go. So once I come in here, I can go to security. And now I got to think about where it is because I was not planning on it for this one. So your connected third-party apps are right here. So if I see all connections, I can see that I have Descript on here, Envato, YouTube TV, Simply Be Found. So this is when we can use to connect into the Google Business Profile. So if I wanted to make sure it wasn't there, I could delete that off. And I could delete that connection.
Gotcha.
But you want to do a security check and make sure, what it has access to. So if I can change this to any account, YouTube, whatever, these are all connecting. Like, I don't know what this Media IO is. Actually, I do. That's Opius. But you have to check that as a security piece because there's a lot of stuff that gets added from APIs that are from other third parties that you might not even have. So you might give them manager access, then they gave an API access, or you may have gave them API access to their document. So it's worth going in and making that change and doing it. I originally thought that you could never go through and do that. This is either something new or something newly discovered of how to be able to manage those API accesses.
Right. And the reason why that became important to some businesses is they gave API access, and for some reason things wouldn't stay set. And we discovered that the API access was the reason for that.
Yep.
Happening.
And that's a huge part because it was making changes. So if you have a business profile and it keeps changing stuff and you don't know why, it might be as simple as just doing a security audit and walking through those steps to be able to figure out what's connected, what's not connected, and how to be able to go through and fix that.
Exactly.
But this is Google Business Profile in a whole entire nutshell. I think that's a good huddle. I think it's one, again, I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you have any questions on your Google Business Profile, let us know. Send us a chat. It's Dean and I that handle that, and it'll probably get referred to me if it's more advanced.
Oh, yeah. If it's too complicated, it's got to go to that guy.
I mean, it's one of those things, or our data team to be able to help Dean be able to figure out what it is inside of there or make those recommendations. But Google Business Profile can be super simple, but you can make it super complicated. So just kind of making it all kind of come together. But I mean, that's been, like I said, that's been one of your biggest struggles, Dean, for things because it changes so fast. And right. Google's such a pain in the butt, and they've hurt a lot of businesses.
And I have some businesses I work with that are in their Google Business Profile all the time. They actually have a better handle of it than some of the people who only go into it 1 or 2 times a year, just because they don't look at it enough to know changes are happening or where things are at sometimes.
Correct. And I think that's a big piece all the way across. I mean, you also have your piece of if it's suspended or anything. I might do a separate video on suspended. I'm not going to touch it on this one, but I mean, this is your basics of your Google Business Profile of everything that's there and what functions you have. And if you don't have a marketing budget and you have the time, just go through and make sure your Google Business Profile is 100% set up. It will help you and will get you leads.
Right, because there's still a major player on the search process out there. So.
And one thing when you do, if you create a brand new Google Business Profile, remember the tree method because they are going to try to sell you ads. I don't go against ads 100%, but either they have their place, but don't spend a ton of money on ads. Ads really don't get you as much as your organic does. So that's why building that entire root system up, having the website as your tree trunk, ads is one of those branches, social media, blog, all those are branches and there's sub branches off of there. Everything is connected. And this is one of those connecting hubs that's really important to make sure it's set up.
So the other thing too, just a real quick note on that, even if you're a brand new business like you just talked about, you can still, if you're active and you're doing things with your profile, you can still get yourself seen.
Yep. You can still get yourself seen and you can rank if you optimize everything correctly.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of businesses that are 50 years old that don't do anything inside of there, and you will be able to outrank them, and then they'll be wondering why you outranked them because you're brand new, and that'll set off a whole new thing. And I mean, trust me, this is the kind of stuff. So back in the day when we used to take phone calls, this is the stuff we'd listen to for hours upon hours as we did those calls, and that's why we kind of pushed it to be email and chat because it was becoming the same thing, and it was too much for just you and I to be able to handle as we grew, and we can support a lot more and still be to our true value. So as we kind of did that, and when I think about those phone calls and I think about our chats and our emails that come in now, this is the confusing part that ends up happening to a lot of business owners. So if you're experiencing these, you're not alone.
Right, exactly. And so that's why a lot of times on our chat, we'll refer to a video because it's the same process over and over again. And we don't need to review it every time because even though you're a unique business, your problems are totally unique based on some of the issues you may be having with your profile.
Exactly. And this will be a great opportunity for you to be able to build your business profile up, get more sales, get more leads, and use that one small sub branch of your local SEO. Because you got to remember, local SEO has a lot of stuff on its branch. So when you look at that tree concept for how all that's set up, when you look at the branching system, you have local SEO, which is going to be your listings area. Yes, it's down here in your root base, and they're all connected together, but you have you're going to be reaching multiple places. You're going to reach voice search. You're going to be doing all that because that's all part of your local SEO. So I guess it's part of the root structure. And I would also kind of give it its own branch like Google Business Profile because you can do posts to it. It's kind of it's all intertwined and it becomes a major pain in the butt.
Right. And
we just make it simple.
Yeah, but that was really a really interesting point on the report side of it, that voice search is not in that report system.
They don't track it.
No. So anyway.
But you have to remember, voice search is a baby. And that's why a lot of those calls are happening right now to be able to get you to rank inside of voice search or saying, hey, you're not being found on Google Voice search or Google Voice, or however they're wording it, because it's so new, it's something they can sell on. Marketers love that. That's where the whole voice search registration piece came from. And my whole entire thing is voice search registration doesn't exist as one piece. It's not one form that you register to be able to get onto all those networks. It is part of your ecosystem of your local SEO. It pulls information from your website, it pulls it from social, pulls it from all of your directories, everything that's inside of there. And that's why it's part of that ecosystem piece.
Right. And you know what? The other thing is, besides the voice search calls, the calls that are happening right now, they're saying your Google business profile is not optimized. You just showed us how to optimize your business profile. So you don't have to have somebody else do that for you. Do it yourself.
I mean, if you need help and you're with the listings engine, that is a marketing coaching piece that we do. It's included in your plan. You can say, what do you recommend I put in this spot? We'll let you know what we recommend.
Exactly. I thank you for that reaffirmation there, Rob, because everybody needs to hear that. So that's one of the benefits.
It is. And I recommend you go through and do all that, because it's going to make you think about your business in a different way. It's doing that whole entire Google business profile audit, that local SEO audit, makes you get yourself going and thinking about it. And that is the whole entire point of this huddle, is to get you thinking about your business and how to be able to grow it.
Exactly. So anyway, Rob, I think we've covered just about everything right now.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you watch this on YouTube so you can see all the screenshots and hear everything. But this is how you optimize your Google business profile, how you make sure it's properly set up to be able to get yourself found on all the different networks. Come check out simplybefound.com. We offer a way to be able to go out to now 1,000+ different networks and be able to grow your business. So that's going to be an absolute awesome piece. I'm Rob.
I'm Dean, the other guy.
We're both co-founders of simplybefound.com. Sorry, Dean, I interrupted you.
Yeah. I interrupted you. I didn't know you weren't done yet. But anyway, Rob, thanks. I think I want to thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.